Today I want to explain how the last couple projects I've been working on, I've actually been using this. This is the whole game changer right here. You may be like, oh no, I don't want to have to learn, that's too tough. I'm used to pen and paper, which may be true. I know I definitely felt the same way. But with like the iPad, moving over to this had a little bit of a learning curve, but the benefits of having an iPad outweighed the fact that I had to learn for what, a couple of days how to draw on this thing. I think if you can overcome a little bit of fear, you may find that this machine right here can expand your world of creativity and imagination and art 1,000-fold. And so today I'm going to show you how why did my voice just break? Today I'm going to show you how I created this using this and moving over, transferring it over to this guy to finish off. So let's talk about the learning curve. Moving from paper and pen to the iPad is not so bad. It still has a pen and it still has a flat surface that you can adapt to. It does take a little bit of time to get used to the brushes and the programs on the iPad, but I would say in a week you could probably get the hang of it, you know? Now, it's different for the Oculus because automatically you're like, I gotta put this on my head. Let's do it. It's just, that already seems like an annoyance. Now, with that though, this thing feels heavy to the hands. It's like a couple pounds. It feels like a pound. Oh, 2 pounds. I don't know what weight is. Not a scale. It actually isn't that bad. Once it's on your head, it does have the tendency to kind of pull a little bit of weight forward. But if you get a backpack like this where there's some more weight on the back, it kind of levels out like a helmet, you know, like a bicycle helmet. It doesn't feel too bad. It can get a little heavy after a few hours of use. And I do say a few hours because once you're in this thing, you lose a track of time like nobody's business. You go somewhere else, the metaverse. That's right. And time doesn't exist there, and you can do anything. I mean, anything. It's kind of good and cool and bad at the same time. Now, for the learning curve when it comes to the controllers, I'm right-handed, so there's a few buttons here. Let's go over these buttons. We got the A and B, just like a normal video game, right? Shaboozle, right back there. And you got the joystick here, and a secret button right there that gets you to the start menu. Hand strap isn't included. This comes with the wrapping case that I got for it. It does have this, so you don't throw it, which you will throw it, so make sure you use it. And these two triggers, you know, shooter game, or the paintbrush. You press this down and it's like this, right? I would use this one to grab it like a hand, and you could just drag that object and turn it, rotate it. And if you click this one, you usually expand it. You know, like an Iron Man when he does all that cool stuff. You're no longer limited to, well, anything. You know what? Let's try to build something real quick. Let's just do it. Let's jump in. I'm gonna show you how to build an object, and then we're gonna transfer it over to the iPad. We're gonna color it and just see what happens. Okay, so this is Gravity Sketch. Let's open up my sword. I want to show you kind of what I built. This is just a piece of it, it's not the full thing. And I'm using the controllers to expand and grow this thing very large. Look how big this thing is. Oh my gosh. This is the shooting one. It's got missiles up here that I built out that launches out. One of them has already launched and it is on its way. Look at that. And this is the blade. Your controllers are in front of you. The buttons are right there in front of you. As long as you have a semi-decent hand-eye coordination, you can figure out that your thumbs are going to be able to push the color button or the red button or whatever. So press the color, I can hold it, and I can choose a color I want to, make. So let's choose a nice golden orangish color. And then here's the pencil and paint brushes, as you can see. Let's choose, let's make this thing. If you double click on it, you have options to make one with vertices or like points that kind of have better. And I've actually built most of this off of the points, the blade, the sharp edges, so I can have something kind of perfect. When I'm doing the, like these wires though, I don't need all that. I just need something smooth. So what I do is I get the size I want, about the same size as that, and then let's go in here and boom, wrap it around, come around like this, and then you have that, right? There you go. Now you can see that it's not perfectly attached to this, but if we want to change that up, I just hold on it with the button right here. Remember that middle finger, the one that Iron Man kind of used? That button right there, and then I press the blue button on the left hand, which is this little points, and then you can see all these points, and you can click and drag them by pressing these buttons. Get it nice, only the way that you want it done. Right? Look at that. Simple as that. How crazy is that? Obviously this defies gravity a little bit, so you want to play with it to kind of make it feel like it's real and it's got gravity to it. Let's say you don't even want one of these, you can press it and delete. The little delete button is the red one on your right hand. Boom, gone, it disappears. Boom, too many. Don't need ya. Look at that, that's dope. You're probably wondering like, Chaco, how did you build this thing? Well, I'm about to teach you. I'm about to show you. So, here we go. Let's get out of here. We're going to use this hand and we're going to not save. We're just going to exit. We're going to do a new sketch. And this is the simple procedure I do to kind of have a simple build for anything. You're just going to want to do this. I'm not going to go through the entire thing because I want you to be creative and create your own. But if you kind of want to get the gist of it, this is what I would do. Press the paintbrush button there. Nope, sorry. The top one, the menu. You're going to go in here to layers and you might want to add one or two. Doesn't really matter. I think for this example, it's fine. You definitely want one or two because you want one for sketching an idea and then one to kind of outline it, and that's important. So let's, for the first one, we're just going to, alright, get the sketching ink tool. To draw on a planar. Planar is cool because it gets like a perfect flat surface you can draw on, kind of like paper. So here's our planar. You can kind of see it's a flat wall and this is sticking to it. So no matter what I do, it's going to be flat. And we're going to draw that sword. This one, I'm just going to go straight to, you can sketch it like this. You can draw out a sword if you want and just kind of have fun. If you want to like get some designs, like say you want all this cool design stuff and you just want to know the proportions of the sword, right? That's cool. This is something that I would draw, you know, for the swords. I would just kind of plan it out with this other sword that we're doing. I wanted, you know, the shape of like a king's crown kind of head, in the center to have this box where missiles would come out of. But I wanted this point here too. And the sword go to kind of a square look and then have kind of wide. And then a centerpiece where the clockwork would work. Okay, so something like this, you're going to try to draw your image, and once you're done, you're going to go in here and, you know, you can click this and take the planar off so that way you're no longer drawing that. But we're going to get the stroke tool, and now we're going to do point mode, because point mode is going to be more accurate for us when we're creating this whole thing. In the menu, now we're going to go here and we're going to, I'm going to grab this and actually just delete that. Let's go to layer 2. And layer 2, first let's put on mirror. That's what we're going to need right here. Mirror is key. So to get this mirror lined up, what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of put this right here in the center somewhere. Yeah. Take your tool. Might want to choose a bright color. I choose like a bright blue because it's kind of fun. And it's going to start drawing. And don't worry about it being 100%. And then done. Then you press the left trigger over here to finish it off. So we have an outline of our sword already. Isn't that fantastic? We take this over here and bada boom bada bing. Now we have the outline. You can move it and disconnects from this, but it's fine. We will reconnect it in a second because you want to line it up, get it straight. And all those minor things you'll fix up in a moment. So if you press and hold it, and then you press the blue button there, boom. These little points where they will turn into magnets and connect to each other. Snap points to other points. There you go. And voila. So I'm gonna bring this down, make this a sharp little edge. This. And let's bring this out. Bring that in. Bring this down. That feels pretty good. And we're just going to continue to do this until we get the shape that we want. Remember, you can have fun and build this any way you design. I'm just showing you the basics of what I did, not in full detail. If you want something more in detail, I would love to build one for you. Just let me know in the comments. And guys, if you like this, please like and subscribe. I am trying to give you the most honest stuff I can give. I know there's a lot of great YouTubers out there. But there's some information that they can't all reach because it's just too much to cover. It gets a little bit tedious at times, but overall, it's worth it. So now we have the outline of the sword that we're going to be building, okay? Now we want to make some more kind of depth to it, and this is really where the build gets interesting. Let's make this a little bit smaller of a line. We don't want it too big. I'm going to click here, I'm going to come down here. And we're going to do the same exact outline, but a little bit smaller. And we're going to cut it short. I'm going to come all the way down here. Bring it to a point here. Boom. And then from here, I'm going to take this object and connect it. And they snap together just like that. So this is going to be the top layer of the steel. You'll see that it gets a little bit wider towards the center of the blade. And here I'm going to bring these points a little bit closer towards this so they can come to a point. And there we go. And then we're going to build out these guys. Surface from a spline. We'll lay it out flat. We're going to choose low poly. You know, let's not do low poly. You gotta figure out what works. So I'm gonna go choose a little bit darker blue, and we'll do the same thing here. Just by doing that, you can see the technique that I used. I would come in here and grab and choose a color that's like this, like that. And there you go, you have a blade right there. That's just the technique. That's all I did. I just drew it out. I drew out every single piece, and it took a while. There was a lot of time. And then eventually I went from this to this. Okay? So some of these parts didn't actually require any kind of mirroring or me drawing out the object. Like these wheels were actually very simple. I would choose, I think this one here, I chose this, and I did a little poly. And what you could do is use the left hand to pick an area and drag out, drag up, and drag around. You can drag down. I mean, you could do that, or you could just thicken it right now and just go straight up, right? And that's what I did. I did this, and boom. Okay, so now I have a disc, just like that. And from here, what I could do Now let's choose the tube. This is cool. Click on this one, and you can do polysymmetrical, different numbers of how many there are, right? If I wanted to make like some bearings, I could just do this number and put some balls here. I can even extrude it out, right? And then, ooh, look at that. You can make a pretty cool design. You go from here, duplicate it, right? I think there's a duplication button. Just press the trigger. We come down here and expand it. We have a new system, a new cool turbine looking. And look, you can just do crazy stuff like this. So let's go back. Make sure it is on not low poly. And that way you get the highest resolution of chords, right? We want to color all this right here, maybe a metallic color. Let's do a metal, and let's do like dark silver, a chrome. Yeah. Let's put one here, and let's put one here. And I don't know about you guys, but I like it. I don't know what it does, but it's so cool. But that's what we're gonna do. That's all you do. It is simple as that. Each little part, if you just break it down, this is just a copy, a duplicate of that over there. So I only had to make the object once to make it symmetrical, and then I, made fun lines after that. It is just, it's too easy to make cool and fun objects as well as fun. That's radical. And then let's say I want this. I'm like, hey, I want you. Take you off, then I shrink you down, and boom, and then shrink you back up, and then boom. Oops. Exit out of this. Exit. Get out of there. Okay. Now that we're done with making our object, when we want to export it, you're going to want to export it as an OBJ file. I mean, you can do it any other ones as they offer the options, of course. But I find that most of the programs that I've had to use on the iPad accept the OBJ file quite easily. Go into the options and you'll see here there's a couple more like double, single, and welded. I chose single, chose control, which gave me more control within Blender and other programs. But you want to play with this as well just to kind of make sure the export's coming out right. It took a couple tries, really, honestly, and some of them weren't. The more complicated my pieces were, the different settings that had to be used. So once this is exported, it's up in the cloud or wherever you've exported it to, let's move it over to the iPad. Okay, once you have Nomad Sculpt open, you're going to go over here and add the scene, right? Once you do that, you're going to find the file. Once it's so turfing, it should be a 2, and just take the whole zip file right here without extracting it, and it should load up. There we have it. It's going to come with all these UV layers here attached to it. We're going to get rid of all of those, and I'll show you how. A little tedious way I've had to work around. Come here, and all these, and you're just going to swipe down, select them all. Select them all and do a simple merge, like that. And you're going to go over here to here and go to unwrap, confirm, yes. It's going to unwrap all of those UVs. Now that the UV looks much better, it's much more accurate to this. So when I export it to Procreate, I can color it much easier. Because if you didn't do that, it was just going to be a mess and you'd be coloring all over the place. But by doing this, you can see it's all separated to the objects that are there. So once we've done that, we're going to, of course, save. It's auto-saving, so no need to save. Now we're going to export it. We're going to export it as an OBJ file, okay? And you can export the normals, but no need. Go right here, export. You can save to Dropbox. I would just save to files, right? But you can also just go straight to Procreate, which is kind of cool. It'll put it right in there, and we can now go in here and take the paintbrush, and let's say I want to make that green again. And let's say I even want to, see this brush. I want to come in here, I can just start painting. And I can be kind of specific. Now, it paints straight on as the view, so if I paint like this, it's going to be on this object. So it makes it a little bit hard to paint, but with time and practice and patience, you will do just fine. Look at that. And here's something cool too. Because these are all each layered, and if you export it this way, you can actually click and drag and drop it in color objects. So if I wanted this to be that blue icy sword, I can just do that. So now we have this awesome blue sword, and I can come in here and do more detailed coloring on each object. And you can add all the effects to this, which is kind of nice, and create layers. That's it, everyone. You bring it in. Once it's in Procreate here, you can just start coloring it and making really cool designs, doing whatever you need to do. Once you have your image, you can always export it, right? Share it as a PNG. Once I find the angle that I liked, I save the image as a PNG. Make sure there's no background, but there's a background to this. So you want to go in here to 3D, environment, and lighting. And this is cool, you can play with this too. I did this for helping me get the correct lighting, and look for each sword. Now the angle that I want to see this at, I'm going to share it as a PNG, save image, then go to my gallery. Once I exported the PNG, I just go in here and add a new image, and then add, insert a photo, boom. There you go. Now we have our sword in here. Can't move it as a 3D object anymore, but now I can start drawing and, just manipulating it however I feel. Yeah, this is just great for getting each picture I wanted to have a different angle and a different look, different lighting. So once you're done, you should have something like this, and this is my sword, right? This is the sword we were working on right there. So what you want to do is go to the landing pad, right? And go to My Files, and it should show up as the most recent created file. So we're going to click on it, and then we're going to download. If it's not downloading on the iPad, this is what I had to do. For whatever reason, just technology isn't perfect, and you just got to learn to go with the flow. Take it over to Dropbox, and then download it from there onto the iPad. So why work on the Oculus and not the PC when you're doing VR work, right? You got Blender, and you have a lot of good programs like Maya and Autodesk and stuff like that, which I've used, and it's great because you can get super detailed and it's very professional, but there's a lot to it, and there's a lot of the learning curve on that could take months, right? I studied Blender for, every day for a month, and I hardly tapped into the capabilities of that program. So I got exhausted. I didn't want to create, and I was building a pencil, I think it was. It took forever. And it's just because I didn't know the program, I didn't know the buttons, I didn't understand the axis and vertices and things like this. This was new to me. Like I said, I'm a pencil and ink kind of guy, and an iPad is like the coolest thing ever. And then now this, but this is actually better because now I can get into a VR space and touch. It feels like I'm touching the object, the drawing, and moving it in space now. I'm no longer typing in or moving my mouse to try to make this square and then have to rotate the camera to go with it. If I want to see my object, I can literally walk around my living room to see it in different views, or I can just grab it and move it. If I want to expand it and hide other drawings within that circle or that sphere I created, I could do that. I can create whole worlds that if I want to go and escape for a minute, I can have music and sounds, and how is that not like an artist's dream to have that kind of creative freedom? At least for me, that's an amazing thing, and I hope that there's other people that share that kind of love for this thing, because it is an amazing tool. And once it gets to the point where it's just like sunglasses and maybe gloves or something. So that's why I don't use PC, and I use this. This is so much more fun. Here's another cool thing, is that right now they're working on things and kind of building platforms to showcase your artwork in VR spaces. The world is transitioning into this Web3, this crypto and DeFi world. It's a lot of confusion, honestly. It's because it's so new and it's so bustling right now that no one knows where the stable parts are going to be and where they're not. But in that, as an artist, there's a chance for us to start getting ownership of our art early on, before corporations find out how to use crypto and all this kind of stuff, that we can build a community. And that's what I like about the NFT and the crypto and the VR world in that sense, is that everyone is, in the metaverse, is that everyone is kind of like learning and they're exploring it. And there's so much creativity to it right now. And it's not going anywhere. This is the future. We can't deny the fact that people are going to live on these things, especially pandemics are going to happen and stuff, you know? I can work with my students in VR and teach them how to draw with them in the classroom. I can see their avatars and I can literally go there and instruct and help them out, right? And they're over in some other country. How brilliant is that? So hopefully this was helpful for everyone. The reasons why I use the Oculus and how to take maybe a piece of art from here to here. Also, if you plan on getting one, I'll leave the referral code down there in the links below, and you can use that and get like, I think it's like $25 off or something on games and whatnot, which is cool. But yeah. Also, I hope you learned a little bit about NFTs and what I'm doing. If you want to know more, please message me. You can follow me on my Instagram and Twitter and whatnot. So I'll see you guys next time. Thank you and have a good week.